Welcome to Notes to the Sun, everyone. I am your host, KGB, and today we are going to be taking a deep dive into something deeply personal for me, something that might even have you challenging how you think about your own personal relationships. Today's episode is called Seats at the Table. Now, when I say that, I don't mean literally the dinner table, though, as many of you can tell, I've sat down at quite a few of those in my life. No, I'm talking about your life, your table. I'm talking about your personal space, your emotional real estate, your inner circle, the people who have access to your time, your energy, and your vulnerability. And here's the question that we're going to explore today. Who actually deserves to have a seat at your table? Let's chop it up. Feel good. Welcome back, everyone. Before we jump into today's topic, please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. Your support and your feedback is greatly appreciated.
A seat at the table.
Now, where were we? Oh, yeah. Imagine your life as a dinner table, and the meal that is being served is all of your innermost thoughts and feelings, your dreams, your hopes, your failures, your insecurities, your vulnerabilities, and your deepest and darkest secrets. Who would you invite to dinner? Who in your life gets to share all of these things that you value and protect the most? Think hard about it. Think hard about the ones who influence you, shape you, support you, challenge you. But more importantly, think about the ones that also drain you, stress you, undermine you, question you, and even doubt you. I bet you some of them might be sitting at your table right now. And the worst part is, you actually know it. Because here's the thing that most of us were never taught. The seats at our table should never be reserved for people. So many of our relationships are based on history, bloodlines, titles, obligations, or convenience, right? That's my mom, that's my father, that's my best friend that I've known since high school, that's my partner, that's my spouse. And because of these labels, we assume that they automatically belong at our table, just because they are closest to us in proximity, but actually might be miles apart from us in perspective and purpose.
A table of needs.
So instead of organizing your life and your dinner table around people, organize it around needs. Think of your life as a table made up of seats, and each seat represents something essential to you that you require in order to be fulfilled, successful, and happy. So at your table, you have a motherhood seat, a friendship seat, an honesty seat, a support seat, an adventure seat, a fun, laughter seat. You have a spirituality seat, and you have an accountability seat. You know, that seat that often tells you, hey, that wasn't your best moment. I think you could be better. And more importantly, you have a VIP seat called the peace seat. That's premium seating right there. The reason why you reserve these seats at your table for needs and not people is because you are always going to have that need in your life, whether or not that person is around or whether or not they are filling that seat properly.
Removing folks from their seat.
Some of you already know where I'm going with this, right? Here comes the part where we're going to make a few of you shifting your seats with a little bit of discomfort and unease. And that is the part where I tell you, not everyone automatically deserves a seat. You actually might have to remove the people who are closest to us and who we love the most from our tables. Let's look at the earlier example when I talked about having a motherhood seat. Now, I'm using this because this is the most extreme example, but I'm going to say something that's very, very uncomfortable. Your mother is not even guaranteed a seat at your table. I need you to let that sit for a second. Now listen, as I shared, there's absolutely a motherhood seat at your table, but your mother is not guaranteed that seat just because she has the title. If she nurtures you, supports you, protects your peace, great, she belongs there. But if every conversation you have with her feels like an emotional roller coaster, if she makes you feel incapable, if she critiques more than she cares, if she embarrasses more than she empowers, if you leave every interaction with her needing at least a week to recover from that conversation, then she might not be filling that seat properly. And you may need to remove her from your table. But here's the important part. It does not mean that your mother disappears from your life. It just means that she may not be able to access that room and sit at that table. It also doesn't mean that the seat disappears. It means someone else might have to fill it. A mentor, an older sibling, an aunt, a therapist, even maybe parts of yourself. But the key idea is this: the seat must be filled by someone who is capable of fulfilling your needs properly. And let's be honest, truth be told, it's actually unfair for you to place your mother in a seat at your table if you already know that she cannot fill that seat properly. To invite her to your table when you know she can't meet all of your needs of motherhood is setting her up for failure. And more importantly, it's setting yourself up for unhappiness when she does not meet your expectations. Remember, this is your table, not hers. You owe it to no one but yourself to be happy. And remember, you're the host. This is your party. You're the one who's responsible for setting your table. So when the people at your table are not fulfilling you and making you happy, it is not their fault. It's yours.
Seating the wrong folks.
So why do we let the wrong people sit at our tables? Here's a few reasons. The first one, the most common one, is guilt. We actually feel like we owe the people closest to us access to the things that are inside of us. And the next reason is tradition. Society and our family, they like to hammer in this idea that certain roles are non-negotiable. So your mama, your daddy, your siblings, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, they all deserve a seat at your table simply because they share your DNA. The next one is fear, and that's the one that's the most sad. Fear of confrontation, fear of loss, and fear of being alone. And then the last one, the one we actually can forgive ourselves for. The most common reason is that we actually never stopped to evaluate who's actually adding value to our lives. Most of us have never participated in an exercise where we state our needs and then we look through the people that are closest to us and ask ourselves which one of them are supporting my fulfillment of those needs. Here's the truth. The truth is, keeping someone at your table who does not meet your needs comes at a cost. It is too expensive to keep the wrong person seated at your table because in the end, it will cost you your peace, your growth, and your clarity. Only invite those who are prepared to handle the things that are on your plate.
Setting your own table.
Now let's get practical for a second. I want you to imagine your own table right now. Ask yourself, what seats exist at my own table? What needs do these seats represent? And who is currently sitting in those seats? And then this is the most important question. Are they actually fulfilling that need? Not occasionally, not potentially, not theoretically, but consistently, intentionally, and effectively. So for example, that friend who tells you the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, they're in your accountability seat. The one who makes you laugh until you forget about all your problems, that's the one sitting in your joy seat. The person who listens without trying to fix every damn thing. That's your support seat. And the one who doesn't drain you, doesn't bring chaos, doesn't bring drama. They are sitting VIP because that's your peace seat. And listen, this doesn't mean you have to start cutting off folks tomorrow, right? This is about awareness first, because once you are aware, you can begin to make choices like reassigning seats. Maybe someone isn't your emotional support anymore. Maybe that they just need to be seated somewhere else because now they fulfill something different. They're actually acting in a different capacity. Maybe you need to start inviting new folks in. Sometimes the seat at our tables are empty, not because we're lacking resources or we're lacking people, but because for whatever reasons, we just haven't allowed people to get that close to us. But keep in mind, and let's be honest, sometimes people change and sometimes they lose their seat. But that doesn't mean that they're bad people, right? It just means that they're no longer meeting the needs that that seat was built for. So instead of forcing it, instead of arguing, instead of hoping that they magically transform overnight, it's you that needs to adjust. You are the one that needs to reassign. You are the one that needs to create space.
All-purpose people.
Another mistake that people make is expecting one person to meet every need that they have. That's pressure. That's fucking unrealistic. That's how you end up saying things like, why aren't you supporting me emotionally, making me laugh, challenging me, keeping me calm, motivating me, and reading my mind all at the goddamn same time? Jesus. Meanwhile, the other person is just trying to figure out, what the fuck is for dinner? No one can fill every seat at your table, and they're not supposed to. That's like expecting one restaurant to serve sushi, tacos, pasta, and the perfect creme brulee. My mother used to tell me that there is no such thing as an all-season friend. Too often, we ask people to sit in multiple seats at once and attempt to fulfill all of our emotional needs. I've actually heard brothers say, and this is a growing trend, that my wife is my best friend. Ladies, hear me out a bit, okay? I need you ladies, to help me stop this dumb shit, all right? Because as my wife, you are sitting in the highest chair at the table. Why do you want to sit in the friend seat also? A seat that's lower than the one that you presently occupy. You wear the crown in my kingdom and you help me rule. My friends make me laugh. Why do you want to replace your crown with the hat of a jester? My friends and I, you know what we do all day? We try to have fun all the time. Trust me, you don't want everything that we do to be fun because life ain't always fun and it's not always so goddamn funny. Why do you want to put on the costume of a jester? When did being my wife stop being enough? Sitting on the throne properly is a full-time job. I don't need you applying for the job of a part-time jester. I love my friends. I truly, absolutely love my friends, but I build with you. If you want to joke and you want to have fun while we're building this castle together, that's cool, but you ain't my fucking friend. You are my queen. And when did that stop being enough for you? But I love spending time with my wife. I watch movies with her. I watch television shows with her. I can't imagine doing anything without her. Oh my God. I just absolutely love our company. We talk about everything. We share everything. We hold no secrets. Yeah, dummy. It's called a fucking wife, not a friend. I don't want any of that shit with my friends.
Being a good host.
You have to remember that at the end of the day, you are the host of your table, not your past, not tradition, not family expectations, not guilt. You. And a good host does a few important things. They're intentional about who sits where. They don't overcrowd the table. They don't tolerate chaos in a space that's meant for growth. And they definitely don't let someone sit in a seat that they're not equipped to fill. Before we go on any further, I want to share a deeply personal story with you. Not too long ago, I've been going through a significant amount of life changes and tragic experiences. I had lost my job that I had been with for over a decade. I was no longer capable of showing up with the necessary mental, spiritual, and physical energy required to perform at my job at an optimal level. So I resigned. But the reasons why I was unable to do that is because right before I resigned, I got into a fatal car accident in which two individuals tragically lost their lives. In my car at the time was 3 generations of my family. It was my mother, my wife, and my youngest son. And all of us came within 1 inch of a car flipping on top of us and killing all of us. I slipped into a state of depression. I started having marital issues at the time. My house got flooded, costing us nearly $75,000 of our own money after the insurance paid. And then the doctors started testing me because I had certain symptoms. They started testing me for cancer. All of this was happening within the span of 6 months. Needless to say, life was shitty. And it was the first time ever in my life that I felt like I was incapable of solving my problems. It was the first time in my entire life that I actually felt as if I was too weak to actually lift the burdens that were on my shoulders. And in that state of hopelessness and in that state of weakness, I had contemplated taking my own life. And not in a casual way. I know many of us wake up some days in the morning, we just don't want to get out of bed. Or we say to ourselves, maybe I'd be better off just dead. No, it was a little more serious than that. I had actually gone through the steps necessary to prepare for my own demise. And by the grace of God, on my way to actually doing it, my wife asked me to pick up my son from school. And as crazy as this fucking sounds, I said to myself, I could kill myself, but I can't leave my child sitting outside of his school with no one to pick him up. So I made a U-turn and I went to the school and I picked him up. And watching his face, the smile on his face, having him talk to me about how school was, filled my heart with so much joy that I brought him straight home and I stayed home with him. And the thought never crossed my mind again. So I immediately sought psychological support, enrolled myself in therapy to start healing myself. I then went to my family members and shared with them all the things that were on my plate, all of the things that I was going through. And I let them know how the weight was too heavy. The load was too heavy for me to carry. I needed help. For the first time in my life, I became vulnerable. And I shared those vulnerabilities with the people closest to me. And I simply told them, I cannot move on. For this problem, I have no solution. I need to lean on someone. Now, if all of these events leading up to this point weren't tragic enough, the biggest tragedy would soon come. And that tragedy was when I sat down and shared with those individuals closest to me what was wrong with me and what was going on? Dead fucking silence. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm talking dead fucking silence. My family didn't know what to do. The people closest to me didn't know what they needed to do. I had been such a pillar of strength and support for these individuals my entire life that when it came time for me to lean on them, they didn't know what to do. An entire month went by. No shit. An entire month went by before someone even asked me how the fuck I was doing. So it's like all of the shit that I was going through compounded, multiplied tenfold, because now not only do I have those problems, but I'm alone. I found myself alone. Do you know how fucking lonely it is to be surrounded by people and feel alone? It's unbearable. But for the next year, I crawled out of the muck and the mire of depression inch by inch. With just faith in myself and faith in God, I was able to climb out of the muck. And when I climbed out, I was so motherfucking angry. I was so fucking pissed. How dare these people lean on me, count on me, pull from me. And when I need them the most, they are nowhere to be found. How fucking dare they? I wanted to burn shit down. I wanted to end all my relationships. And then I realized the hardest lesson that I learned, it wasn't their fault. It fucking sucks to say that. Even right now, in this podcast, it hurts to fucking say it. But it wasn't their fault. It was mine. I had seated these people in places that they could not fulfill. I put them in seats they were ill-prepared and ill-equipped to be in. That's not their fault. It's mine. I intuitively have known my entire life that they were ill-equipped to be there, but I put them there anyways. And when I needed support the most, I didn't have a supportive person in my support seat. When I needed hope the most, I didn't have anyone sitting in my hope seat that could fulfill that need. When I needed faith, when I needed strength, when I needed someone to just hold me and tell me it's going to be all right because they got it. Those seats were either empty or they were filled with people who either couldn't or refused to fulfill my needs. I was not able to get out of that state of anger until I started to rearrange my seats and start actually making sure that the right people are in the right seats. And it is required me to do some rethinking. Who's in the wrong seat and who shouldn't be in the room at all? I'm telling you right now, having the wrong people in the seats at your table can actually cost you way more than just time and money. Trust me when I tell you, it can cost you your life.
KGB's table.
Now, I'm not going to leave all y'all high and dry without sharing my personal list of seats that are at my table. And it's important that I share this with you just because you might want to use some of my ideas as a jump off for setting your own table. So I'm going to break them down to you one by one. The first one is I have a spirituality seat. This seat is occupied by someone that shares my faith, someone that actually believes in what it is that I believe in. These individuals are not only responsible for keeping me faithful, these people are also responsible for ushering me along my spiritual journey. And they are also responsible for my own spiritual development. These are my spiritual mentors, all right? I also have a loyalty seat. And what do I mean by loyalty? I mean, I have someone who wears the KGB jersey. This is the person, rain, sleet, snow, I don't give a shit. They ride for me. And anybody that ain't riding with me, they say, fuck them. These people are KGB all the way. They don't give a fuck if I am right. They don't give a fuck if I am wrong. They are on KGB's team 100% of the time. These are the people that are looking out for me, even when I'm not looking out for myself. This is my loyalty seat. And then I have an honesty seat. The people that are going to keep it real even when that shit hurts. The people that I can be honest with, and individuals who are going to in turn be honest with me. This is my trust seat. This is the seat of the person I trust the most because I know that they are always going to keep it real, and it's the seat that I could be the most real with. So the honesty seat is extremely important to me. The next one is, I didn't realize I needed this before until I went through all of that shit. I didn't realize I needed a motivation seat. I needed somebody who can actually see when the energy levels are going down. I need somebody that can actually know when KGB is not himself. Somebody that can call me up, lift me up, shoot me kind words. Every now and then, hey, how you doing? I love you. Keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing. Somebody that can make me feel good about me. The person that sends me that random meme every now and then that lets me know that I am loved. That seat is reserved for them, that motivation seat. And then I got a parenthood seat. This is not fatherhood. This is not motherhood. It's parenthood for me. This is anyone who's going to nurture me, care for me, protect me. This is the individual that I can feel like a child with. This is the individual that I can be vulnerable with. This is the individual, no matter how old they are, I feel protected. These are the people that I feel are ride or die. They will die for me because I am theirs. This is what the parenthood seat is for me. And this is the kind of person that will occupy it. Notice, I didn't say mom. I didn't say dad. I said parenthood. I also have an emotional support seat. I need a seat that is occupied by somebody I can just cry with. As a man, that is a hard fucking seat to fill. A very hard one. Because if you ask most men, you'll find out. Most of their emotional support seats are actually empty. It's not filled by the wrong person. Men, we actually leave that fucking seat empty, unoccupied, because we don't want anyone in our lives that we can actually cry in front of because we don't feel like crying. And that's where the problems start. Once I got to a state where I just wanted to end shit, I cried uncontrollably for months. Why? Because I had spent 50 fucking years not crying. 50 years holding that shit in. And it was tearing me apart inside. I've now realized that I must have an emotional support seat. And someone in my life has to be around that I could just cry in front of, and they do not see that as a sign of weakness. The next seat for me is an accountability seat. Someone that holds my feet to the fire. Someone says, hey, I love you, but you ain't gonna get away with that shit. I see what you're doing here, but I know you can do better. You know what? Didn't you say you were gonna do that thing? How come you didn't do it? I need someone who sees my better self and holds me to that standard. Having someone that's going to hold you accountable feels like shit. But if you think about it, they're the person that sees a better you better than anyone else. And they are constantly reminding you of the best version of yourself. And they are holding you accountable, and they are making it so that you are always striving to be that. Having an accountability seat is extremely important. And the next one is financial support. You need to have someone that is supporting you financially. And I don't mean giving you money. I mean people that are helping you with budgeting. People that are helping you with accounting, people that are helping you with investment, people that are helping you with the simple things of taking care of business and managing your money properly. Everyone needs someone in their life that is savvy enough, that is educated enough in the field of finance, because you are going to ultimately run into financial problems, and you're ultimately going to hit a ceiling where you can no longer achieve financial growth simply because, not because you don't have money, not because you're not making money, but because you don't know how to get to the next step. So financial support is extremely important. And then there's fun and adventure. God damn, you need fun and adventure. This person is probably the most critical person in your life. And the reason why is because without fun and adventure, what the hell are we doing all this shit for? You need someone in life that is going to remind you why you're actually doing this shit. You need a vacation buddy. You need an adventure buddy. You need somebody that you are going to experience new things with, someone that you can explore the world with. Your fun and adventure person. Too often do we dismiss this element of our life. And when we say, oh, fun and adventure, we see that as a lesser seat, when in fact, it's one of the most important ones. Because without that fun and adventure, it's going to be very, 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 very fucking difficult to get through your job, to get through your marriage, to get through your family, to get through all of the ups and downs that life will inevitably present you with. So fun and adventure. Then there's intellectual. You need a smart motherfucker around you. All right. You need somebody around you that is at least 3 times smarter than you, at least 3 levels ahead of you. Somebody that you say, I can't compete with that person. They are way smarter than me. You need that individual in your life because they will challenge you intellectually. They will challenge you to see the world differently. They will challenge you to think differently. More importantly, they will inspire you to grow mentally. And that is how you are able to achieve in life, because you have to think differently before you can actually be different. This person is already thinking differently. So you don't have to guess how to get to the next stage. They already know how to get to the next stage. You need someone who is intellectually superior to you. And then the last one is a self-care seat. You need someone who is devoted to your self-care. The person that you go to spas with and you get massages with, the person that you get facials with, the person that you golf with, the person that you go on vacation with, that's also a form of self-care. You need someone who you can work out with that has the same gym membership that you do. You need someone who is devoted to you actually being physically better. Someone that helps relieve your stress. So these are all of my seats that are at my table. Hopefully these offer you a kind of jump off for how you can set your own table. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to comment with any questions that you might have about what is it that I do to set my table, who I've set my table with, and some of the difficulties I've had in kind of removing some people, not only from the table, but sometimes even from the room. So here's what I want you to remember. Build your life based upon what you need, not just what happens to be or who happens to be around you. Because when your seats are filled with intention, you're going to stop feeling depressed. You're going to stop feeling drained. You're going to start feeling a little more happy. You're going to stop feeling disappointed, and you're going to start feeling a little more balanced. And maybe, most importantly, you'll stop expecting one person to be your everything, and you're going to start allowing multiple people to have a seat at your table so that they could be great at something. Thank you, everyone, for sitting at my table today. If this episode made you think, laugh, or reconsider who's sitting in your life, share it with someone who you think might need it. And until next time, protect your peace, choose your seats wisely, and please remember, not everyone deserves a plate. I'm your host, KGB. Take care.